Chell. And this is from here to there. Because the distance from here to there in human experience is closer than you think. In this episode of From Here to There, I'm chatting with financial advisor Stacey Adams about what women in particular need to be doing to secure their financial futures. If this is all foreign to you, don't worry, you can learn and you can start today. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, good morning, Chell. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, let's just wipe out any intimidation anybody has about the terms financial advisor right now. What exactly do you do for your clients?
It is so scary, right? Just those terms strike fear in people, and it shouldn't. What I do personally is I work with insurance and investments to create a balanced financial portfolio for people so that there are not, a one-legged stool. Because every financial decision you make affects every other financial decision you make. And so often when you go to like a wirehouse, they're looking at just your investments and your retirement. And that's a great piece, but that's just one piece of your puzzle. If I don't protect where you are today and I don't look at your cash flow, then there are a lot of different things that can happen.
So what's the biggest mistake that women make in this area?
Okay, so the biggest mistake that we're all making, and I am the woman I'm trying to reach right now, right? I'm 46 years old. I have a young child. My mother, is in her 70s. The biggest mistake is we are not putting ourselves first. We put our finances last, yet we're going to live longer. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're saving less. I mean, we really have to start paying attention to what we're doing. Now, if you're married, a lot of people say, oh, my husband handles all that. That's great. Do you know what the plan is? Are you confident with the plan? Sit down with him. Don't put it on the back burner. It needs to be addressed. I know it can be kind of a daunting topic, but let's put it in the front because we all want to retire. We all want to slow down. Some people say to me, I'm going to work forever. That's not a plan. You're assuming your body is going to cooperate. I don't know about you, but I don't know any 85-year-olds getting up and going to a job or working at any point.
Most women, well, okay, let's say our target audience, they have kids, they might be taking care of aging parents, they're working, they don't see any room in their budget to be investing or saving or spending on insurance. So where do they begin?
Okay, let's talk about this. Your money on any given day is being pulled in 4 different directions, right? It's yesterday's debt, it's today's lifestyle, it's paying for college or paying off college, depending on your profession, and retirement. And you say, well, I only have a limited bucket. It is reallocating the right dollars to work for you. And that's kind of where we specialize. We look at kind of your whole financial plan to make sure that you're being the most efficient. The reality is, it's not a magic bullet. You do have to do your part. We really have to start saving and remembering we can't just live for today. You have to really save, and savings on an ongoing and regular basis will always trump any kind of rate of return you can find. And it's saving in the right places too. It's not just savings in a savings account where you're not making any money.
Okay, so that's the big thing too, is when women say, I don't have any money to save, you would say, let's look at everything you're spending, that you would really dissect this person's financial life.
Yeah, if it got down to that where they really couldn't find the dollars, then we do go down to the nitty gritty and look at their budget, because there usually is money, but there are also some sacrifices. If it's down to that tight, there's just sacrifices you have to make.
Right.
We just can't live for today and forget about tomorrow.
And then if they are saving, they're probably saving in a savings account that isn't really growing their money. So there's always little adjustments that can be made.
Right. I mean, you want your money to make money. Obviously, it has to work for you. The bank makes more on it than you do. So sitting in a savings account, while you do need a life events fund, this is something I really like talking to people about. Everyone is so crazy about paying off their credit cards. I want my clients to be out of debt too. That's vital, in the right order. So I protect today. We work on our savings. okay, creating a really good healthy savings amount of your annual salary. Then we look at creating a life events fund. That is, life's going to knock on your door and say, surprise, here's a life event, and it's going to usually be a financial situation in some form.
Yeah.
So I need you to be liquid. I don't want you to go into your 401k and take a loan. Don't do that. We need to make sure you're liquid. And that doesn't mean just in a savings account. It's where you can access money within a very short amount of time and not pay penalties and taxes and fees and all that kind of thing. And then the last thing is paying off your credit cards. So what I would say to somebody is maybe don't throw extra money at that credit card just yet until we can get you protected. Because the minute you pay off those credit cards, if you haven't created that life event fund and you don't have enough savings, you're going right back onto that credit card. Then years pass by and you say, oh, I still don't have a savings. So there's a financial order to things. Just like, you go to the hospital, right? If you have a head wound and an ulcer, what do they treat first?
I just read in Money Magazine how women are supposed to have 3 times their annual income saved. Like, how is this again? Okay, so let's say we've got the emergency fund, we've got the credit cards paid off. I mean, how are we supposed to save this massive amount for retirement?
Well, here's the deal. The bottom line is there's no pensions anymore. Social Security hasn't kept up with, the cost of living. It really is up to us now to create that pension in retirement. And what I would say is sit down with somebody. Find somebody you're comfortable with. It's not a DIY project because money's emotional. It doesn't matter if you have a big bucket or a small bucket. It's still a very emotional feeling. You kind of need somebody who's detached from it to really talk you through some important choices.
Just hypothetically, I was thinking, okay, well, let's see. If we retire at 70 and God willing, we live to 100, okay, that's 30 years. So I don't know, somewhere between 1.5 million and 3 million is what I'm going to need. And I'm like, how the hell? Like, I don't even know.
But that's the point. I think you need someone to really walk you through it. It's not something that, because you look at that number, you're like, forget it. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
You stick your head back in the sand. I mean, it's human nature. I mean, no one is doing things that we all do it, and I think that's when you sit down with somebody and you say, okay, here are the cards. How do we maximize what we have? And there are ways to do it. There are very simple ways to kind of address some of these things, but you need a financial expert. I mean, you really do, because everything has rules and details, and it's not your job every day, so you're not kind of in the middle of it, right? So
Right.
You want somebody who knows all of those fine details so that you're maximizing all the financial tools. There's no new tools. We just have to look at them differently, okay? Because we cannot keep playing by a playbook from years past for our future. That 30 years could be retirement. That's a long time.
Right. So how did you get into this?
Well, it's really interesting. As you know, I was a television anchor for 24 years. I always say 24 years of anything and you're ready for something new.
Yeah.
My father actually died 2 months to the day before my son was born. My son is now 6. And that's important because I really saw the struggle that my mom went through. So he died in the middle of the night on Thanksgiving weekend, unexpected. He was 66 years old. My parents had been married for 46 years. And they had just canceled the life insurance policy.
Oh my God.
During the recession, it was not a huge policy, $250,000, although, I mean, a good size, nothing, to squawk at. And she will tell you today at 72, and she's working full time, that was the single stupidest financial mistake she ever made.
Wow.
We always think, oh, I don't need insurance because my kids are grown. But what about the person you're leaving behind? What about, there's other ways to use insurance, when you're alive. We show our clients that. There's a lot more to it than what you think you know. And I hate to say this, but the reality is you don't even know what you don't know. So sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask. But having seen that and seen my mom really struggle, and I just know, I mean, like I said, I'm 46. I'm in that zone, and I'm looking at my peers and saying, come on, ladies, if we don't start changing it, the end result's not going to be pretty. So let's, take a hold, let's do what we can and move forward together.
And so if somebody wants to work with you, what can they expect to pay? How do they start the process?
Okay, that's a very important question, not just on my behalf, but really on everybody's behalf, because everyone gets paid the same, but some people charge fees. I don't charge fees. I'm trying to make people more efficient. So all of my clients, my client meetings, sitting down with me costs you nothing. It costs you your time, which is valuable, but important. So unless we put a financial tool or strategy in place, I don't get anything. Now, why that's also important is I'm not captive, meaning while Guardian is my parent life insurance company and Park Avenue Securities is my broker dealer, I can sell, any insurance company just about, there's like 1,200, just about anybody that you would want to be involved with, I can sell. And then on the managed money side, we can deal with just about any platform. So that's really, really important. So then it really opens it up to what is best for the client, because it's not one size fits all. Sometimes you go to one of these places and here's my proprietary products, would you like A, B, or C? And sometimes you go to an individual person and they charge you a percentage to manage your money. Plus, the fees and the commissions that we all get, that's all from the companies, that's on that end. So I think it's important to look for somebody who fits your budget, who fits your philosophy. This is a relationship. I don't consider myself a transaction person. I want to create a relationship. I want to be there for my clients. I want them to feel comfortable and confident.
So you would say, when you say feel comfortable, it might be a red flag if I were to sit down with someone who calls themselves a financial advisor and they're saying you have, just limited options, you can pick from these, or maybe they're pushing me to, like, what would be some red flags?
I don't know if I would say red flags, but just because, Uncle Joe used such guy doesn't mean that he's great for you. It really is a relationship, because you're kind of financial undressing. Everyone, it's funny because what one person sees as wealthy, somebody else doesn't.
Right.
So you really need to feel confident that who you're sitting down with, it's a gut reaction. I think especially with women, we know when we really feel comfortable with somebody. I think a lot of my clients have become friends because you really share a lot with them. So I would say definitely sit down with someone sooner than later, though. Like, don't keep putting it off, because it's like a meter on a taxi. The time ticks by whether you address it or not.
What about women who are afraid to invest in stock? What do you say to that?
Well, that's a very personal decision. That's that whole nothing's one size fits all. It's what's your risk tolerance? That's when you need to sit down with somebody and really work with them and have them ask you the right questions so that you're invested in the right things. If you don't understand your financial plan, your financial longevity plan, you need to reassess why you're in it. Because you should be able to understand why you're in these different places. If you're asking questions and you're not feeling you're getting answers, maybe that's not the advisor for you.
Well, can you explain? So there's stock, there's 401k, obviously through your work, and then there's IRA and there's Roth IRA. Can you just do a quick little breakdown of the differences?
Okay, a 401k is usually offered by your employer, right? And it's made up of stocks and bonds. It's mutual funds within a platform. And sometimes they match and sometimes they don't. So you always have to, think about that. And then an IRA is just an individual retirement account. So it's one that you set up yourself, but it still has those rules. Remember, your money's in jail until you're 59 and a half. If you take money out before then, you pay the taxes and the penalties. And then a Roth is you have to qualify financially. You can't make more than a certain amount of money. And that goes in after taxes. So when you take it out in retirement, it's tax-free, not tax-free. You're never taxed twice. So,
right.
And in a 401k, remember, that's all tax deferred. And that's that one-legged stool, because everyone's like, I've got that 401k, I'm good. But if everything is tax deferred, think about what the ramification is in retirement. Then everything is taxable. So you really should try and diversify, tax now, tax later, and tax free, and talk to your advisor about how to accomplish those things.
Growing up, we definitely did not talk about saving or investing or anything like that. We were just winging it. And now I'm thinking, oh, we have a 401k and I've got an IRA because of a previous employer. And
Right.
I kind of feel like I have small amounts all over the place. I would love to see my money all in one place, but you're kind of explaining why it's important to have it in more than one place.
Well, I think it's okay to have it in different places. I'm going to show you something. I don't know if you can really see this, but this is something we work with our clients on. And this is that whole, it's a website I give to all my clients, and it doesn't cost them anything. And this is, again, assets, liabilities, protection, and the cash flow. And so I can link all of your accounts to this, and you can see it in real time, kind of where your investments are. It's not transactional. You can't move money in it, but you can really see it in one landing page. And I think that's really important for people to kind of, because you just said it, I have stuff kind of everywhere, but it's not organized. How do I know how it's going to work together? And the biggest thing that I think everyone is missing out on is a distribution plan. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
How are you going to turn all of those buckets into money? How are you going to turn that 401k, the IRA? Who has talked to you about what that looks like and how to create the income out of that? Because that's what it needs to be.
So since that sounds overwhelming, the first step is just to talk to the financial advisor. And
Right.
then if you don't already have your emergency fund, so maybe emergency fund and then financial advisor.
Well, I mean, allow the advisor to help you find ways to grow your money that you can still access it, because you don't want it just sitting in the mattress. You don't want it just sitting in a savings account. You want liquidity. Again, it's step by step. And I'm more than happy to talk to people and give them, some talking points if they're looking for that. They can always reach out to me. I love helping people. But I feel like if we don't start helping ourselves, let's stop putting ourselves last, ladies. We take good care of everybody else, but it's not selfish to take care of yourself, because you're going to live a long time. Love your children enough to take care of yourself.
Excellent advice. And I just want to say, if there's any like 20 somethings watching, or maybe you're a single mom or whatever, I still want to say I was 18 and I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I went into my State Farm. I think my car insurance might've been there or something. And I took out a whole life policy at 18. So it was super, super cheap. And
Yes.
I am still paying to this day that super cheap rate for my whole life policy. And I don't know what 18-year-old does that, but the younger you are when you do this, obviously, the better, and you'll see the money grow. And so don't get overwhelmed. Just make an appointment to go sit with them and just get the full picture, because you're going to be surprised. And 10 years from now, you're going to thank yourself.
And people, trust me, most advisors are so happy that you're sitting down and talking to them. No question is stupid. They understand that this isn't your job every day. It's not your focus every day. It's what they do for you. So, that's what we're here for.
When people want to get a hold of you for this initial consultation, where do they go? Is there a website? Do they email you?
Yeah, actually, they can go to the company's website. You can go to www.afgfl.com, or send me a direct email. So it's Adams, one word, Adams @afgfl.com, and I'll get that email.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you, Chelsea.